Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a lovely day. I'm so glad you're joining me. Well, I have a fun project to share with you. We're using the Simon Says Stamp Card Kit for December 2024. The kit is called Warmest Wishes. In fact, that's the name of our stamp set here. We're going to be using the stamp set that came in the kit along with the embossing folder and die set that was also included in the kit. This is called Bundled Up. And then we got 3 positively saturated inks. We have Latte, Pucker, and Artichoke. All of these came in the kit too. We're going to use these on our card project today. So we're going to jump in and get started. We're going to first start by doing some embossing. I thought this embossing folder was super pretty. It has all things you wear for winter. There's scarves, there's caps, there's mittens. What we're going to do is take a piece of white cardstock. I'm going to create a panel. And I'm going to run this through my die cut machine and we'll emboss the panel. Now while I'm at my die cutting machine, I'll take the coordinating die. I'm just going to keep it together. I won't need to separate them because we're going to die cut this out several times, 3 times. So we'll go 1, 2, and 3 on a piece of white cardstock. So I will do that and I'll be right back. This is what the embossed background looks like. I went ahead and adhered it to the front of my A2 size card base, so this is ready to go. I'm going to put this to the side, and now we're going to focus on the die cut pieces. When an embossing folder comes with coordinating dies, what I like to do is cut them out first. I'll open up my embossing folder. I'm using the side that the pattern is recessed and kind of concaved in. For me, this is just easier. And then I'm going to take each one of I'm going to line them up over the coordinating image. And what I like to do is kind of wiggle it until it's positioned inside, or it's kind of nestled inside that area that we're going to be embossing. So there's one. I'm using a low tack tape to tape this down. I'm going to do the same. Kind of just give that a little shimmy, nestle it right in there and tack it down. I love that each one of these hats, let me give you an example. So I have 2 hats that are the same. What I love is the shape of these hats are the same, but there's different textures on the embossing folder. So this hat and this hat will be 2 different hats when you emboss them. I think that's super neat. Same with the mittens. These mittens have a little texture on the glove portion. These have little hearts on the glove portion, and these ones are plain. So you can create lots of different elements for your card project. So I'm going to continue on, and then what I'll do is just close this up. I will run this through, and then I'll have a whole bunch of mittens and hats with different textures and embossed details. I'll be right back. Okay, I have all of my little mittens and caps embossed. What we're going to do next is add some color. I'm going to start with my pucker. Just going to use my blending tool here. I'm going to add a little bit of ink. And I'm going to add some color to the cuff portion of the hat. And then also to the pom-pom or the ball of the hat here. I'm going to do that with all of my caps and my mittens too. Okay, I have all my orange detail added with my pucker positively saturated ink. Now I'm going to take my latte positively saturated ink. We're going to add a little bit of color to one side of each one of these little hats and mittens, just to give it a little bit of depth. After we have this done, we're going to put these to the side. Now I'm going to bring back my card base that has my embossed panel here. What we're going to do is line up each one of our elements directly over each of the embossed areas. So I have them all lined up where I want them to go. More focused on the left and the right here of my embossed panel. Now I can bring in my glue and I can secure all of my elements over the existing embossed area we'll just tack them all down. I love how each one of these fit over the existing ones. They just fit like a glove. And that was an intended pun. They fit beautifully right over the embossed ones. And I love the dimension that it gives. I'm going to tap it, make sure I got them all. Now I'm going to trim any of the elements that are overhanging. And our background has a little extra color. And I love the dimension that this has. Okay, we have these little mittens. We're going to do something special with these mittens. I am going to bring back my pucker ink. I'm going to add a little bit of color to the bottom, just a light amount to the cuff. We're going to fade up just a little bit here, make them a little bit more orange. Now after we have this done, I'm going to bring in 2 alcohol markers. I'm using my Copic markers. I have R37 and I have YR09. We're going to add a little bit of detail to the cuff and to the heart here. I'm going to add stripes to the very bottom. I'm just going to add 4. Okay. And then with my red marker, I'm going to add 4 more stripes. Okay, and then I'm going to color in the heart red with my R37. I'm also going to bring in my latte ink and my blending brush, and I'm going to add a little bit of tan to the upper portion of my mitten. Okay, after we have these little mittens done, I'm going to flip them over. I'm going to bring in some white twine. I'm using Fawn's lawn trimming. I'm going to cut about a 3-inch piece here. Okay, I am going to color this twine using my latte ink, and I'm just going to go over it. So we're just going to tint this a little bit. And I like some of the white areas showing. I'm also going to create a bow, so I'm going to take a longer piece and we'll tint this color also. That's the best thing about white twine, is you can tint it with the positively saturated inks. I just love that. I'm going to tie a bow with this one, and I'll trim the tails of this later, but I'll tie the bow here. And then with my shorter piece, I'm going to bring in those foam squares, and we're going to attach the twine to the foam squares. So I'll just layer this, add a foam square right over the top. I'm not going to remove the release paper just yet. This is going to be dual purpose. We'll add our twine, and we'll secure it with a foam square. Okay, we're going to put these to the side. And then we're going to bring in some orange cardstock. Now we're going to create a banner. I have a 2-inch strip. This is 2 inch by 5.5 inches. I'm going to be using my Simon Says Stamp stitched rectangle die set. And I want to create a window in it. I'm going to take the second from the smallest. This is double stitch, so it's going to give me stitch detail on this panel here. I'm going to place it about 3/4 of an inch from the very top. Okay, so we have this piece, and then we have a window cut out. I'm not going to use the inside piece. In fact, we're going to put a piece of white cardstock behind here. So I just trimmed it so it was slightly smaller than 2 inches. So it'll fit right behind here. I'm actually going to take this panel and we're going to do some stamping on it. I'm going to use this piece as a guide. So I'm going to line it up over my white cardstock. Okay, and then tack it down. I'll take the sending, and I'm going to stamp it inside my window here. I think that's going to work great. I'm going to be using my latte ink to stamp my greeting. So we'll ink this up. I'm going to stamp it one more time just so this is a little bit darker. And I'm going to leave my stamping positioner out, but I'm going to create a banner with this tag, and then we're going to do some more stamping on here. To create my banner, I'm using my Spellbinders 3-in-1 punch. Since this is 2 inches, I can just add this right down the middle here. Give it a good press. And then we've created an instant banner with this. Of course, you can always just use your scissors and fishtail it if you wanted to. And then I'm also going to bring in my pucker ink, and we're going to do a little ink blending. So I'll just add some ink here. I'm going to add it to the very bottom. Kind of fade up. I'll do the same to the top. We'll add a little color up here too. I'm also going to add a little color to this piece here. Just on the bottom. Okay. Now I'm going to treat my banner with my anti-static powder tool because we're going to heat emboss the second part of our sentiment. So I'm just going to make sure that my ink is dry. I'm going to bring back my stamping positioner. And then we're going to stamp the second part of our greeting that says a warm hello. I'm going to place it here. I'm going to use my watermark ink. I'll add some to my sub-sentiment here. We'll give this a press. And then I'll bring in some white embossing powder. I'm just going to dip it. Sometimes dipping it's easier. Wonderful. I'm going to use my heat gun and we'll melt this. So there's my banner. What we're going to do is layer this together. I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to add a little bit of glue behind here. And I'm going to add my greeting. And there is our banner. I'm going to put this to the side and we're going to do a little bit more stamping. I do want a little bit of greenery on my card. So I'm bringing in some white cardstock. So I'm going to take the greenery that's in our stamp set. I'm going to stamp with my artichoke ink. I'm going to stamp this a couple of times. Give that a good press. Lovely. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead, clean off our stamp set, and we're going to add our berries. I do want to mention, if you guys do have the coordinating die set, you may want to die cut this out first and then inlay the die cut pieces and then do your stamping, because this way you can line up the berries perfectly to coordinate with the die. Or if you like fussy cutting, you can just fussy cut out your images too. Just tack these down, and I want a little bit more of that the latte color on my card, so I'm going to stamp the berries in latte. I'll ink these up, and I want them again a darker color, so I'm going to give them a good press. Now I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to fussy cut out each one of my foliages, and I'll be right back. Okay, now we're ready to put together our card. I did put foam tape behind my banner. I'm going to tack it down about 3/4 inches from the left side here. I'm going to go all the way to the top. Give that a good press because we're going over that embossed detail. Next, I'm going to take my greenery, and then I'm going to use some small foam squares, and we're going to pop these up in this top corner. And I'm not worried about the ends meeting because we're going to add a bow to connect those. I do want to add my mittens here, so I'll remove the release paper. I want that one longer than the other, so I'm going to just arrange it, and I'll tuck this right underneath my foliage. Okay, I'm going to take my bow. I am going to bring in a glue dot. I'm going to place this in the center of that foliage, and then we're going to add our latte stain twine. Then I'll trim the tails here for a little bit of added sparkle. What we're going to do is bring in some Pawsitively Dazzling gems. These are surf. I think blues and oranges go so well together. And that will finish off my card today. Today we used the Simon Says Stamp December 2024 card kit. It's called Warmest Wishes. I hope this gives you a little bit of added inspiration. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye-bye.